What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. OG here. I have a special video for you today because not only are we going to break down the gameplay deep dive that EA Sports brought us for FC26, we're going to do it with one of the best, in my opinion, the very best, the most knowledgeable person when it comes to the game of FC, formerly FIFA, and that is Inception. The reason why you're always seeing these reaction videos to Inception is because back when I started my competitive journey in 22, it was so hard to find honest and helpful content creators. There's so many BSers, so many content creators that just worry about players clicking on their next tactics video even though they were nonsense. So many players that just wanted to stay on EA Sports' good side so they would brush over issues. Inception always kept it 100% honest about the game. He is passionate about the game. He's very good at the game, very knowledgeable. So then you add to that his tactical approach where he provides insane tactics that I learned a lot from, and player reviews where his in-depth breakdowns I learned a lot from as well, to the point where now I create my own tactics, my own player reviews, and I owe a lot of my start into going my route where I could do that myself. I owe a lot of that to learning from Inception. Therefore, I will always promote him to anybody that plays FC, and we will always look for his guidance on where we're going with these games. With that being said, let's get into the breakdown of the gameplay deep dive, but also after that, it's almost arguably more important, the pitch notes. If you don't know, every time they provide these type of deep dives, EA Sports provides a more in-depth breakdown on the website under pitch notes. I always will encourage you to check those out as well because they have just much more information. This is more the glitzy, glamoury type of, if that's a word, type of, showcasing all the stuff they want you to see, but the pitch notes allow players to really break down what's going on and gives you much more information. And with Inception helping, you guys are going to be as up-to-date as you can be with regards to where we're going with FC26. I know a lot of you are on the fence with regards to whether you're buying it or not, and this video will without a doubt help you out. So here we go.
So yeah, let's keep it going.
Make gameplay better. Those three words summarize our full focus this year. An overhauled gameplay experience that's responsive, rewarding, and powered by your feedback. Here's what's new. First, we separated gameplay into two presets. Competitive gameplay, customized for more responsiveness and player control in online modes. And authentic gameplay, tuned for more realism.
So parts like this, I'm just going to talk about. You guys can obviously watch this full trailer if you want, or you probably already have. But basically, the competitive mode, we'll see all the different things they're adding. The authentic mode, based on what we see, just a few clips, it looks great, but we need to actually play with it to know if it's going to be good. Now, here's my thing. If the authentic mode ends up being great, I wish they would just make it their regular mode. We play a football simulator because we love football. We love to watch real football, play football. So why wouldn't you want it authentic? However, we still have to see if it's a good mode or not. This is the first time they've done something like this where they had two different modes. Now, if you add that, where the authentic mode is good, to a deeper career mode, which we still have to see what they're adding to the career mode, you better believe OGFC will 100% be adding a career mode where you decide the team that we take from the bottom all the way to the top. So, hopefully, authentic mode is as good as it looked in these few clips, but only time will tell, as well as what features, if any, they've added to make career mode better.
Attacking movement and physicality. Here's what we've heard over the last year and how we rework those fundamentals to address your feedback. Goalkeepers are inconsistent. Expect keepers to be smarter and more consistent in FC26. We're using machine learning to train them in hundreds of thousands of in-game situations to find the best positioning, including those little micro steps world-class keepers use to close the angle. Changing directions feels so heavy. Players can now turn quicker and accelerate more explosively in any direction, making everyone feel more agile and responsive. And we've continued to tune the relative pace of players to ensure that the fastest players feel like the quickest ones on the pitch. Tackles and interceptions often bounce back to my opponent. This is a big one we've dedicated hundreds of hours to improving, and now you'll be more likely to win the ball cleanly and retain possession in those moments. Passing
With a cursor, you guys are going to finally do that?
One we've dedicated hundreds of hours to improving, and now you'll be more likely to win the ball cleanly and retain possession in those moments. Passing and dribbling feels sluggish. Both of these are more responsive in FC.
So just real quick, touching on the tacklebacks. That is one of the biggest issues defensively in FC25. They did a good job going away from the AI, right? They still need to refine their defensive system. By no means, just because they went manual, is it a perfect setup, for instance. Tackles, the inconsistency in making tackles now is ridiculous, to the point where opponents will get away with bad decisions, or players in possession get away with bad decisions sometimes just because the tackles don't go through. And then when you combine that with the tacklebacks, or even the bad passes that then just bounce off the defender and go back to the attacker, you have literal ratty players that will use this as a tool now, right? Running right at the defender, knowing they'll just get the ball to bounce back to them. Making errant passes, knowing that the ball will just bounce off the defender and go to them, and maybe even help them break through since they don't have the skill to do it. Or even if it's a skill game, you don't want goals or big chances to come from nonsense tacklebacks or passes that otherwise would have been intercepted and just pinball off right back to the attacker. So let's hope they truly fix this. A lot of these things, it's good that they're bringing up, but we are going to have to see in game. It's good that they show these models and these little examples, and it looks good. However, as always, we have to play the game and see for ourselves in a larger setting than just a few clips. So let's see what they have to say about passing now.
26. Passing and dribbling will feel different between competitive and authentic, but they'll both be more fluid and reactive than last year to ensure that the game feels dynamic and in your control. My teammates need to make better runs. We agree that fluid attacking movement is key to fun and dynamic gameplay, and we've retuned the runs your teammates will make as you progress.
This is actually new. This is pretty cool.
We agree that fluid attacking movement is key to fun and dynamic gameplay, and we've retuned the runs your teammates will make as you progress up the pitch to give you even more options and support. I can't protect the ball when pressed. We've created brand new ways for you to use physicality to shield the ball in FC26. By pressing the shield button, you can now seal off your opponent as they try to press you, or bump them with your shoulder as you dribble to make a bit of space. Low drivens used to be great. We're bringing back a community favorite mechanic and improving on it. Low drivens can now be triggered on demand by double tapping the shoot button. And this can be applied to all shot types, allowing you to turn your finesse or power shots into low drivens with a second tap. This also replaces timed finishing, meaning that precision shooting will now become the primary skill-based mechanic for scoring goals. Each of these updates to gameplay fundamentals is designed to address the most common feedback we get, and together set a better...
So before we even continue, so their direction with shooting is that they're going to remove time finishing so that your version of time finishing is you using precision instead of time finishing. Interesting.
Foundation for the overall...
Real quick on that, I like that direction. Now, just a little side note. Whenever I'm playing eFootball or UFL, there is no dynamic shooting, right? It's just aim, power up, that's it. And then the AI decides the rest, meaning how far it goes into the corner, if the keeper saves it. Obviously, the player's shooting attributes matter somewhat, but once you play those games enough, you realize that it's sort of a gamble still. There's no skill in their shooting. In FC, there is skill. Now, you can still use what I call the rookie level shooting, where you just aim, shoot, and many times you're going to be punished because those are the times where a ball would have otherwise been finished, but then it turns into the goalkeeper saves it, right? Once you use precision shooting, it is a skill-based mechanic, so you're not just going to be able to go in and score every time. That's not what precision shooting does. It just puts more of the skill into shooting from real football into your hands. As you're dribbling up and shooting, you can move your aim all the way up till your foot strikes the ball, right? So say I'm in real life on a breakaway, I'm going to go, to the left side. I see the goalie cheat left. So as I'm swinging through on my shot, I switch up and shoot the ball to the right. So it's more realistic. Okay, now I know that with like the rookie shooting, you could say, well, you could change direction too, but it gives you more like it's called precision shooting, right? It gives you more precise aiming, right? If you get good at it, you can literally put the ball just inside the post to where you leave no doubt, instead of many times you shoot, the keeper parries it away, or the dreaded off the post shot that you can now control somewhat. You're still going to miss. It's still a skill that you have to work on, and obviously the attributes of the player plays into it too. But the biggest part of this, removing green time shooting. The reason why at first I like the idea of green time shooting, right? And I'd rather have that than nothing, where it's kind of like how you strike the ball. Everyone loves when they strike the ball fluid, whether it's a finesse shot and they hit that perfect connection on the ball to curl it how they want, or they're driving a shot and they get that perfect strike through the ball and it's just a rope. So that's what green time shooting emulates. However, it almost became somewhat of a rat tool where players could just green time, and they would take their finesse shot from that certain angle with the green time or whatever shot it was, and it almost became like a cheating tool, which is never a good thing, right? So with that being said, removing that to where players who aren't necessarily skilled but just have that certain glitch shot angle and they green time it, could exploit it. Now it's just precision shooting. However, you can add in the low driven part, meaning you're taking a finesse shot, you aim far post. Now when you double tap the shoot button, instead of that being for green timed, it will go low, right, instead of that upper corner shot you typically would get. Or you're shooting a ball from outside the box. Say you take a long bomb, you want to hit a long bomb, you got the right player on the ball, you take the shot, and it will go up in the air. The keeper is at a good angle to parry it. Now you can choose the low driven power shot, finesse shot, whatever it is, which many times is the better option. So you still have many options to shoot, plus the ability to aim precisely. You just don't have any more green time shooting. So let me know what you think about that. I honestly think it's a good thing, because it does get so old, those certain players that can't break you down, right? They don't know how to even play football. They just look to get the ball into that one spot, to hit that one finesse or that one trivela, and they're able to just green time. It floats in every time. Now that ability's gone. They can still go take their shot all they want, but if they want that exact precision that they got from the green time, they're going to have to turn on precision shooting, and that in itself is going to be difficult especially when you're hitting those long range shot from that certain angle. It's going to take skill to now get that exact every time. Whereas with green time shooting, if you just were in that certain spot and you used assisted shooting, you could do it way easier. So again, they can use assisted shooting still, but without green time, that's where it takes away the, how much they score, right? So in my opinion, it is a good thing for that reason, and that reason alone.
Gameplay experience in FC.
That's what they're replacing, because if you use assisted, you're probably not going to have a good time, because assisted it could be basically what it is right now, which is garbage if you don't time, right? So it's like kind of forcing you, like, hey, you want your shots to feel like they're timed, you're going to have to use precision.
I love it. Spot on. Exactly what I was just saying, right? I hated when players use what I call rookie shooting, and then they just got rewarded because they would have assisted shooting and they would green time from that one angle or two angles, and it just wasn't proper football, right? They were just looking for essentially a shortcut to score goals. Now they're going to be forced to actually use the skilled shooting, which if you're using it and an opponent's not, it can be frustrating, right? Because as helpful as it can be, it is very tough. So as I'm working on it and maybe missing some chances while I'm working my way up, there's other players using assisted shooting, scoring goals that you could have scored those easily, right? Guess what? No more just green timing with your assisted shooting. You're going to have to use precision if you want those glitchy type of shots to go in every time. So anything that hurts the rats is a great change.
Another widely requested feature we're excited to add this year is high contrast mode. We've made high contrast mode customizable so you can create a visual experience that's best for what you need. You'll be in control of the colors of each team, the keepers, the ball, the referee. And you'll even be able to turn off player or stadium shadows. plus adjust the overall pitch saturation. We've also added simplified skill moves, adjust the overall pitch saturation.
Finally.
We've also added simplified skill.
Notice that smirk, and he said finally, because the pitch shadows was a way. So you have to use Ultimate Team, the Ultimate Stadium when you're playing champs. But in divisions, you had, of course, rats that would purposely pick these shadow-filled stadiums that made your vision extremely hard. Not to mention, it changes up your camera angles a bit. So they would do it on purpose to throw you off, and it absolutely could throw you off. Now, the fact that you can probably turn off shadows. Now, it's going to stink if you have to go with like the home team settings. Hopefully, they're smart enough to know if they added this feature to add the ability to just say, turn off shadows on every stadium. Or, this is a little props to UFL, they don't get much. They allowed you to pick, do you want your games day, afternoon, night, and each one has different shadows on the stadium. So if you choose night for every game, boom, shadows are gone. Hopefully this is something like that where you get rid of shadows entirely, and guess what? Another advantage gone from the rats.
But in contrast mode, like I don't have to, as long as I don't face shadows online, I don't care. That has to be an option for online, because facing shadows online is ridiculously stupid.
Allowing you to perform a relevant skill with a simple flick of the right stick in a given direction. We're introducing 5 new playstyles in FC26. Precision header, aerial.
I'm extremely surprised he didn't stop and talk about that. I want to hear more about that. It sounds to me like they're going, if you don't know about eFootball's Smart Assist, it essentially lets AI do like everything for you. It's the dumbest thing ever. It's ruining that game. However, one of the things it does for you is instead of using the, having to put in different commands to do moves, you just flick the right stick in whatever direction that you want to go, and it will do a move, the best move in that scenario, without you having to really press the buttons. If they're saying that's what is being done here, I mean, it's not totally Smart Assist, so it's not like a game breaker necessarily, but skillers are going to be extremely upset because it's going to be that much easier for everybody to start skilling like crazy, right? If you can just right stick flick and Vinny's going to do some crazy move that these other players have to like sit there and practice and learn the mechanics on, it's pretty unfair. And it sounds like that's what they're doing. However, I don't know, they didn't talk about this is only off the line mode like they typically would, but I would think that's where it would only be, right? Because learning all the different commands and pulling off skill moves properly, that creates a skill gap. So even though I'm not the greatest with skills, I've never been a big skill user, definitely not a skill abuser, just being able to flick the right stick and allow anybody to use it, that would be an advantage, especially for the rats, because now you're going to have Vinny Jr.'s running all around doing skill move after skill move since it's so much easier. So I wish Inception broke that down a little bit more, but it sounds to me like that's what it's going to be, just super easy to do moves now, which I don't like. So hopefully that's only offline. But they didn't say that, so it sounds like that's a negative coming into the game. Get ready for, mark my words, if what I think's coming, get ready for a lot more skill abusers coming back, which we haven't had for several years.
Fortress, game changer for those flare finishers, inventive for flare passers, and enforcer, which dials up those improvements to off-ball shielding. You will also see new player roles in FC26 that epitomize the modern game. Ball-playing keeper, wide back, inverted wingback, and box crusher. Just like the other player roles, these new roles are opportunities to customize your tactical approach and push beyond a rigid formation. Great gameplay is at the heart of what makes an FC game fun. That's why we're so excited about FC26. The split of competitive and authentic gameplay allows us to customize and improve your experience based on where and how you play. And refined fundamentals across the game deliver on your feedback, making gameplay more responsive, consistent, and rewarding. There's so much more coming to FC26. Look out for more
Hey, your tactic system, you're keeping the exact same?
Inverted wing.
Modern attacking fullback who gets forward and adopts a central position high up the pitch when their team has the ball. Okay, this is just you changing words because that's basically false 9.
Back and box.
A defensive midfielder who can get forward to join the attack and making trailing runs into the box if the opportunity arises. You guys better change the way that the AI system works for these players, because the AI movement is so generic for all of these formations and custom tactics. So if you're keeping Shadow Striker for the side positions and they still move in generic ways, you guys are actually cooked, because this new tactic system is, I hate it so much. And it's, of course they're going to keep it in the game because this is their way to manipulate you guys into buying certain cards from certain promos. Oh, you're going to use Mbappe, he can't be used, or you can't use Salah. We've already talked about this a billion times, right? But you can't use Salah in that right attacking mid position because he doesn't have the cam position change, doesn't have Shadow Striker. You know what I really hate about this system? So it's like, because I'm such an AI based guy, right? Like, people don't care about it because, you know, people like to play like rats because they're so addicted to their pack rewards, right? But if I play Ultimate Team in the beginning, right, and I don't have double roll pluses, are you telling me that the movement is going to be complete trash? Like, this is where the concern is when you add a feature like this feature to make more money off of people. Because these roles and these tactics, you created a basic way for people to play in basic ways, like, because there's nothing unique about these, like as we're talking about for FC25. So unless you do drastic changes, like you did that one patch, but you got to still make huge drastic changes. If I'm still facing cut back meta for this game, I will lose it. Okay, so apparently this is gonna be huge. So yeah.
All right. I'm going to do a part 2 for this right here because this is going to go in depth. Some players might not care about going that in depth, but as far as the gameplay trailer, I give it a B. Now, why just a B? Because I felt like they didn't go in depth enough in some of the things that they're changing, right? They gave us a little glimpse, and maybe that's all they wanted to do, but don't call it a deep dive then, right? Just call it gameplay highlights, because that's all it was. They highlighted certain things, and that was it. The last thing I wanted to address, based on what Inception said, he is absolutely right, and I've talked about this a billion times as well, but I've talked about it from an eFootball standpoint, right? There is no such thing as Vinny just playing prolific winger, and then, you know, Salah just playing roaming flank. They do both. Sometimes they're roaming flanks based on the description. Sometimes they are prolific wingers. There's no such thing as just a target man striker. Sometimes they're a target man based on the movement. Sometimes they're a poacher. Sometimes they're a deep lying forward, right? Sometimes a midfielder is a whole player. Sometimes he's an anchor man. Sometimes. So all they are doing in the spirit of let's make more money. If we give this player like a hullet with a certain playstyle pluses, since we're talking about FC or eFootball, certain player roles, and then they change it up the next one, that's how they can get your money, right? Oh, well, this Hullet can't play this position or doesn't have this player role. Same concept in FC, right? So it's no secret that these development companies are using these limited roles, which aren't realistic at all, and it's the same with the team playstyles, right? Which is crazy because there is no, like, buy this playstyle, buy this one. But it limits the actual football that you can play within your team, the actual individualism of the players that then work into your team system. It limits it all. It makes every team sort of look generic. 4-2-1-3, everybody's Shadow Striker, everybody's... So then every player, no matter their player ID, is making the same type of runs. That's not how football works, right? What they need to do is make these individual player IDs more unique to how they play in real life. And then for like adding, if you want to do a create a player mode or something like that, add your playstyles and stuff over there and you can earn those. But Vinny should just play like Vinny. Salah should just play like Salah, right? Haaland should just play like Haaland. And then you add that into your team system, which that will either work into how they play typically, or maybe it changes it up some, right? And you have them playing in more of a unique way. And they could do some type of slider system on that. Like, based on your system, Haaland has a whatever adaptability score, so his movement's restricted that way. I don't know. I get where that seems complicated. However, something needs to be done to remove this limitation on these players that makes everything generic. That's exactly what Inception's saying, just in different words. All of it's done, though, which is why we have it still, this stupid system with the playstyles and all this. All this is done, again, in the spirit of these development companies making more money because they force you then to buy the updated cards or the new cards with, and again, speaking in FC terms, the different roles and role pluses and role plus plus, or play styles and play style pluses. Everything is based on ways for them to make more money. So you can't just keep a certain card or cards and be content. You're always going to want more. You're always going to want to spend on this pack and this pack. It's nonsense because it takes away from the real football that can be played. Look at the team play styles, right? Let's say you want to go possession. Now every player is going to come to. Now this is across the board in all the football games. Well, not UFL. UFL is so limited they don't even have this, right? They have plenty of other problems, but not this one yet. Hopefully they learn from it. If they stick around, they aren't gone. But the team play styles, right? Whether it's eFootball or FC, it's the same thing. So say you want to play possession. Every player is going to constantly come to. Even if your team's playing possession, that doesn't mean your players are only going to make runs to the ball. They're going to make some runs where they check to the ball, right? Bring the defender to, and then make a run away. Now, there was an animation. If you watch through that trailer, you'll see there's a certain run where the player checks to and runs away. I have no idea what that's tied to. I have no idea if that's a new way to manually control your runs or not. But that's more how runs work. Or they fake running away and come to. But there's all different runs, whether you're playing possession, long ball counter. It's so crazy playing eFootball, and this is where they go so far left away from how they used to be, which is the most realistic game. When those players you're playing, let's say long ball counter, your players just run away from the ball, okay? So you'll have the ball, you'll be looking for an option, and the only way you can receive the ball with a player coming to in eFootball, you have to pass it and immediately press super cancel, which doesn't always, go through in time, and it doesn't look realistic. That's where FC has eFootball beat, because despite why no one talks, or many people don't talk about like the team play styles as much as the limitations with the player roles and player movement like that, is because you can manually control your runs. L1, R1, as well as the player lock, which is L3 and R3 clicked in at the same time. Then you can move any direction you want as far as the manual runs go. And if you have player lock, you simply click the L3, R3 in, flick your right stick to the player, and you can switch 2, 3, 4 times, move several players if you want to, any direction. Even with the L1, R1, you simply press whichever one you want, coming to, going away, and then you can flick the direction so they can make like diagonals or whatnot. That control of runs right there solves everything with regard to the team play styles. Because now, all right, I'm going to play possession, so my players are naturally going to come to, but then I know I'm going to manually make them run in certain ways, right? Whether that's why FC made these, type of team play styles, because they knew you could then implement your own, skill as far as player runs goes. Whether they did that on purpose or not, or it's just another limiting thing that we found a way around. That's where FC is way better than eFootball. Only having the ability to super cancel, right? No directional runs, being able to manipulate runs going in any direction, or calling players to, or sending them when you want. It's silly, right? So I just had to touch on that, but make no mistake about it, FC is still very limited. They're better than eFootball, but still they need to fix that system because it takes away from how good the football could be. Again, my suggestion, every player has their player ID and they play in a certain way, and then your ability to manipulate the runs to make a tactical system that works for these players, that's where your skill comes in. But this limiting players, it's nonsense. With that being said, thank you, Inception, as always, for being honest, for being helpful. Hopefully my feedback on top of that will help you out too. The bottom line is, if you're on the fence about buying the game, or if you're going to play the game no matter what, but you just want to know what you're in store for, my goal is to help you guys out. So if you have any more questions, leave them in the comment section. Thank you as always for watching. Please smash the like button if you like this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, and my Discord link is in the YouTube bio. We would love for you to join. Make sure you check out part 2, where we go into a deep dive with Inception for these pitch notes, which, as you heard, they're going to be big, and this is going to be a long, in-depth video. So stay tuned for that, coming shortly.